Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here today for the Spirit Anchor YouTube video series and the Anchor.fm podcast series. My name is Kristen Schmidt-Dykes, and I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Our very special guest is Heather Rae. She's an author, a storyteller, a modern-day witch, and a healer. Hi, Heather. Thanks so much for joining us here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thanks. I'm so glad you're here. If you wouldn't mind telling our audience a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yes. Well, I've been kind of practicing in the wellness community for going on 10 years now. So I was kind of a late bloomer into coming into this type of practice. And that's what brought me to it because, I was really kind of living a life where I was really disconnected from myself and, the world around me. I was living a very surfacey life, if you want to call it that. I was not getting into, different deeper layers of myself and other things. So I kind of came to a point where I needed to kind of got those little nudges that I needed some healing to do. I had healing to do and some things to explore. And so that really got me into this, beautiful world of healing and body work and yoga and meditation and just all this interweaving of these wonderful tools that I now have and have been practicing with and working to share the past few years. So I've had a wellness studio in downtown Ferndale up until last year for about 5 years. And so that's where I had my personal practice. And I worked with clients one-on-one with body work, with energy work, Reiki, healing energy, teaching meditation, teaching yoga, workshops, goddess.
Yes, you definitely are a woman of many traits. And I've been lucky enough to experience some of those groups and those metaphysical networking circles. And also as you are a massage therapist, I've been fortunate enough to have you work on me. And I will say that your talents are definitely special and run very deep. So you've recently published a book, Balboa Press, A Peaceful Place to Dwell. Can you tell us a little bit about that book and how you were inspired to publish that, and tell us a little bit about what's in that book?
Yes, I'm super excited. My first published book, we just did the big launch this past January. And what it is, I found that once I started working with people, and working, with myself and getting deeper and deeper into this practice, I discovered what a beautiful benefit and blessing it was to me to, again, starting to get down to different layers and to come from a place of healing and connection first and just bringing about a sense of mindfulness and awareness. So, in my practice and teaching meditation, it's learning how to, for myself, helping to support and empower others to help facilitate their own healing, their own connection, and kind of diving into those deeper layers. So when I had my studio, I did a weekly meditation class, a community group called Musings and Meditations. And so I wanted it to be more than just meditation techniques. I wanted it to serve as a vehicle to not only bring you into the present moment and release distractions, but to kind of fall into those many layers. So connecting with yourself on an energetic, metaphysical level, working with elements and different things. So the book itself is a collection of all these meditations that I've written over the years. And they come along with these different journaling and coaching and musing points. So you can start to delve into those deeper layers that you may not have been aware of before. And those serve as the vehicle to get you into that place of stillness and really deep connection that we find in the practice of meditation. So it really means a lot because most of these meditations come from my own journey and my own healing and my own discovery of a lot of these different things. And they're in addition to, your basic breathing and techniques, broken down into chapters like the seasons, the chakras, guided journeys, relaxation, sleep, connection, creativity, things like that. So ways to kind of stimulate and connect with all these different facets and aspects of yourself. And then kind of settle the mind, learn that practice of redirection with distraction. So there's a big guided meditation piece to it, in addition to just the practice of meditation.
Right. Well, that sounds great. I mean, it sounds like it's multifaceted and it offers a lot for different types of scenarios that we might be going through. But for the people that maybe aren't too familiar with meditating or the term meditation, can you give us an overview of what that means for you and kind of what that encompasses for somebody who has maybe never tried to meditate? I mean, I think for most English-speaking people or even anybody from all over the world, they may have heard that term, but it's a practice, it's a mindset. And can you just kind of speak to that a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly it. Meditation is a practice. It's a mental discipline, something that most of us are not used to using our brains in that certain way. You know, we multitask, we move fast, we think, we analyze. And so meditation is a practice to train your brain to kind of slow down, okay, to insert that pause and to really be mindful and be present. So we can oftentimes be standing in one place, but we're about 100 other places. We're thinking about the past. We're distracted by the future. We're worried. We got all these things going on. But with meditation, it's about stopping all of that, bringing yourself to your place of center, and just stopping, clearing out distractions, and being completely present and mindful, and kind of finding a place of contentment where you don't have to seek anything. You don't need to think about, and when you do find distractions, that's where the practice comes in, because you need to kind of learn how to redirect. Because I think what I find in teaching meditation is, especially to beginners, is there's frustration that comes along with it because they get distracted. And then, that brings up a certain response. So one of the most important things that I tell people when I'm teaching them how to meditate is that distractions are going to come up. That's kind of the way our brain works. We have this influx of thought. So it's retraining your brain to honor and see and acknowledge those distractions, but not attach to them. So not attaching to those and just letting them go and then coming back to that place of center. And I think once you get into that practice, like anything else, like learning a new skill, you got to practice. And then it gets easier, right? And then you don't have to redirect as much. And you can easier get into that place where you're not distracted, where you're not worried about, taking the laundry out of the washer, picking up dinner, these things that creep in when you just allow yourself space to sit, because we don't do that very often as a society. We always feel like we have to be doing something.
Sure. And right. I think it's important also to tell people, though, that like you had mentioned earlier, you are training your brain into stillness, and that could possibly mean sitting still for 60 seconds to start. It's something that you can achieve with, the longer you practice to meditate for longer periods of time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to start off with 30 or 60 minutes. Because I think that's intimidating for some people. They think if I meditate, I've got to do it for 20, 30, 40 minutes.
Exactly. No, yeah. Minute meditation. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Right.
5 minutes, whatever you feel you can get in. And like I said, you start small and then you can work your way up. When I first started, trying the practice, for somebody that was disconnected, I was very uncomfortable, and I would get frustrated and, and then I got more comfortable with myself. I got more comfortable with my own thoughts. And sometimes for me, it was a matter of just sitting and listening to myself. And and just being aware and working with mindfulness first. So to just sit, and I set timers just so I'm not distracted by the clock and I've been sitting here if I need it.
That's a great idea.
Because sometimes people just keep opening up one eye to see how long they've been, sitting there, and, then you're distracted and you're thinking. So even just sitting and focusing on your breath for 1 to 5 minutes can have such a tremendous effect on just starting to train yourself to be present. And doing that 5 minutes a day can help improve your sleep. It can help lower your blood pressure. It can have so many physiological effects as well. Meditation has so much more research being done on it now. It's been going on for thousands of years. We're starting to catch up a little bit on the practices and the benefits of this.
Right.
And, it's really, truly wonderful and amazing what's coming up with meditation now. They're sending children to meditation instead of detention.
Exactly.
Offering it in schools and all these beautiful benefits, for having kids connect with themselves in this way, to honor their feelings, to be aware of their feelings. And yeah, it's been a really cool thing to be a part of it and share with a lot of people.
As a witch, you work and you manifest goddess energy. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means for you?
Yes. As I mentioned before, I, with my practice and my career and my work in these areas, I found myself to be quite a shapeshifter. I've kind of evolved my practice to where they've led me to all these different interweavings of energy being used to bring about like a desired balance or a change. Working with Reiki and healing energy, with yoga and the chakra energy, and just learning more about working with elemental energy and connecting with nature, and kind of synchronizing our energies to better manifest and bring about what we want in our life. And so, that led me into more of the magic aspect of practices that I do. And I found that I really connected with goddess energy. So kind of connecting with the divine feminine that takes so many different forms. And so what I found when I'm working with that type of energy is almost more in an archetypal type of level and way. So because working with goddesses as archetypes, we are kind of tapping into those aspects that we have within ourselves. Okay, they embody these different types of energies and places that we already have. We just kind of need to tap into that. So when I work with goddess energy, it's connecting to that place in ourselves that's multifaceted. And so, for an example, there's the Hindu goddess Kali. That's the goddess of wrath and destruction and evolution, but coming from a place of love. So if I find that I need to kind of harness a little warrior spirit in myself, or I'm working to move past something really hard in my life and to kind of come and break through that, I might work with her type of energy. There's Kuan Yin, that's a Buddhist goddess of mercy and compassion. Ocean is a Yoruba river deity. And sometimes I'll work and petition with her directly if I'm working on something with like abundance, because she's kind of the goddess of anything that flows. Honey, abundance, money, things like that. So it's just been, and it's fun and interesting to me to learn about these different aspects of these different goddesses and how they connect with and relate to me. So
that's great. That's great. I think, that's kind of a new, in the West anyways, it's kind of a new practice to reach out to these goddesses, because as Americans, or, even with our religious dogma, not really something that's ingrained in us, or it's not part of our cultural history as it is in the East. And I think that bringing attention and naming the goddesses and knowing what they represent and what that energy can mean for us, that's a strong support system that we have.
Yeah.
Actually, while you were talking, I was feeling some energy, and it was very feminine. And I don't know if you felt it too, but sometimes when we just talk about that feminine energy, entities can come to us and, provide that reassurance that they're with us, and all we need to do is call for them.
Yeah, I just had a big blanket of cool air come over me with it.
Yeah, I could feel it. I could see it and I could feel it. And I heard some things and I knew that there was some energy coming in. So we thank them for coming in during this interview.
Thanks for joining us. Absolutely.
It's always great to have that reassurance and that validation that what we believe and what we feel is that energy is with us. So
yeah, and for me anyway, it's more of a kind of a collection of many different, they call it eclectic. So just drawing from many different faiths, traditions. I don't follow any one thing in particular. I do what works for me and what feels right, and who feels if somebody calls to me, then hey, I need to work with you right.
All right. Well, that wraps up our wonderful conversation with Heather Rae. But before we go, Heather is going to read from her book, A Peaceful Place to Dwell, a grounding technique, a grounding meditation. So Heather, whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you. So this is one of the meditations that I wrote for my new book here, A Peaceful Place to Dwell. And I wanted to do one because I think, especially in times when we have so much information coming at us and there's a lot of different energy going around right now, it's really hard to get ungrounded and feel scattered. So I find that grounding techniques and, this grounding meditation is a great thing that you can practice to even just take 5 minutes. When you find that you're being really pulled away from your place of center, to kind of bring yourself back and to really be supported and grounded and protected. So I'm going to do a little reading and a little meditation from my book here. It's called Planting Your Roots. It's a grounding meditation. So, and for me, grounding is about getting back into your body and getting your feet back on the ground when you feel scattered. And grounding goes hand in hand with protection and shielding our own energy from the energy around us. So, and this is connected to our root chakra, which is part of our energetic system, which is our foundation. And so we build upon that solid foundation. So if you would like, let yourself just kind of get comfortable if you need to shift or move and kind of find your center of gravity, and give yourself permission to just kind of settle into your space. Feel free to close your eyes if you want. And I want you to feel your connection to the floor and the earth beneath you. And become aware of each point of connection of where your body meets the earth. And feel and accept her support. Begin to connect with the earth's passive energy. And just feel that there is a sense of cohesion, strength, and stability. And with eyes closed, begin to connect your breath with that stability. Allow the breath to find a nice, natural, even rhythm. And just a sense of mindfulness and connection. That you are centered and focused. And begin to imagine sprouting roots wherever you're connected, extending from yourself deep into the earth. Allow your roots to reach deep down anchoring you into the energy of the earth all the way down to the core. And allow yourself to feel stable, feel mighty, feel strong. Any part of you above the earth can move freely, swaying in the wind. The circumstances around you adapt to any new situation, but your roots are firmly planted into the earth's surface so that you don't drift. And bring your energy to this base level to feel grounded wherever you may be. Your breath creates a circle of protection, and you are steady and secure. We'll take another final, just deep breath just to close it all in and bring it all in. So a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth.
Love it. Well, thank you, Heather. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And I appreciate everybody who has taken the time to learn about Heather. And if you are interested in picking up A Peaceful Place to Dwell, we'll have the information on where you can buy that right after this presentation. Thanks, everybody. Love and light.
Take care.